What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Run Up the Score podcast. Sorry, it's been a couple weeks. Was dealing with some final exams, but we're back here. We got some stuff to talk about. As always, I'm your host, Noah Willard, joined today by a special guest, Tobey Juliano. What's going on, Toby?
What's going on, guys? Glad to be back. Got some hotter takes than ever. I'm ready for this. I'm ready.
Oh man, you love to hear it. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. But real quick, actually, I almost forgot. Before we run up the score, I'm gonna need you guys to run up that follow button, run up the 5-star reviews. Helps us out a lot. Toby, I am excited for you to be back on the show, man. It's been a few weeks since you've been on, but this is a good episode to talk about because, man, I want to jump right in talking about Boston versus Philly. Obviously, Boston taking Game 7 in a series that honestly it felt like Philly probably should have won going into Game 6. But I just want to ask you, just real quick, what does Philly do next?
I think they got to move Harden, and it's gonna sound crazy, all right, but I think they need to move Maxey and get two other pieces, two other like all-star pieces right now that can win now with Embiid. They just can't get it done. They're the second round chokers. They need experience, and they can't just get it done with Harden.
So here's the thing. So I think so. This is a Philly team that obviously has championship aspirations. They've had great constructed teams ever since the Jimmy Butler team back in 2019. You know, they had the Kawhi shot, kicked them out of Game 7, losing the second round. You know, more recently they were the 1 seed, lost to the Hawks in the second round in 7, and then now this most previous year losing to the Celtics in 7. I mean, this is a team. Joel Embiid. I don't know if this means anything to you. It's really early in his career, but Joel Embiid is the first MVP, or he's the only MVP of all time that has never made it past the second round. Now, like I said, early in his career, it is what it is. But I was gonna tell you this live on air, Toby. It came out literally right before we started recording this episode, and I understand we're kind of jumping the gun a little bit. We'll talk about the games, but I did just kind of want to talk about Philly just in and of itself for a little bit. But came out right before this that James Harden, there's a rumor that he refuses to play if Doc Rivers is the coach there next season. And
No
I don't
way.
know how you feel, but I personally would be shocked if Doc Rivers is not gone within the next day or two. We're recording this Monday night. I was honestly not even expecting him to make it this long. I was expecting the announcement to come before we made this episode. What do you think about Doc Rivers, Toby?
So I'm actually shockingly glad James Harden said this, okay? Because I think I'm predicting this live on air right now that there's going to be 2 head coaching spots filled within the next week. Doc Rivers is going to get let go of Philly. That is going to happen, okay? He's going to be signed this offseason by the Phoenix Suns. Just like I think the 76ers are going to hire Monty Williams.
Well,
Coach of the year 2 years ago. Why did the Suns let him go? This is off topic, but what is he doing? What did he do wrong to get let go by the Suns?
Short leash. It was a I don't think he coached a great I don't think he coached a great series, but it was just kind of, I don't know, very short leash. But I do want to spend some more time on Philly. Like you said, I think Doc Rivers is 100% gone. I have several friends that are Philly fans, and I don't think I know any of them that would be disappointed in the fact that Doc Rivers, I'm not even going to say could be gone. I think he will be gone.
Yeah.
Man, this is a depressing end though for Philadelphia, but this is a good time to be looking for coaches. You know, obviously Monty Williams is out there, Coach Bud is out there, Kenny Atkinson might get back into the NBA as a head coach. He's already a coach in Golden State, but as a head coach again, it's a great time to be looking for a head coach. But I mainly just want to start with the series. I mean, man, I don't even really know where to start. I mean, obviously you might lose James Harden anyways. I do want to dive deeper into Philly and what they do, but I kind of just want to start off with the series individually. I mean, you could put all the blame on, I know you said they need to get rid of James Harden. I'm having a hard time talking about my ideas here, but I don't know, man. There's only so much. I think you could put a lot of blame on everybody in this series, but James Harden had, what was it, 2 40-point games? They're not even going into Game 7 if James Harden doesn't do that. So, you know, I think there's blame everywhere. I think where the most blame goes is Joel Embiid. I mean, obviously he had an okay series. Like, it wasn't bad compared to other centers. He had a great series. But when you have the MVP of the league on your team, you have the guy that you expect to carry you to a championship. I don't know, man. It's just a little bit depressing when you get a guy scoring, what did he score? 13, 15 points per game in game seven. And then it felt like in game six, like that was the game that Philadelphia should have closed the series out in. They It felt like they were going to win it all the way. And then the same thing that happened at the beginning of the half in game seven happened towards the fourth quarter of game six, where it was like a tie ball game and they just couldn't score. Like it was like 60 to 55. And the next thing you know, it's like 80 to 60. And it's like, where the heck did the offense go? Joel Embiid's being passive. I know he's dealing with his knee issue or whatever, but I mean, Al Horford, they couldn't do anything to get Al Horford off of him. So, I mean, what do you think about the series as a whole? Like, where do you think it went wrong?
I think I think it came down to two things. I think number one, I don't think the Sixers played a bad series. I think they had a bad ending to the series. I mean, they won in Boston to go up 3-2 in game five. But I would say the thing that killed them is experience. Yes, the Sixers have made it to the second round and only the second round in like the past 4 years with Embiid. But just the Celtics playoff run last year, I think the players' experience just mentally took them. I mean, especially in fourth quarter of game six. But what really happened is two words, and those two words are Jason Tatum. To have the mental strength to have such a bad first three quarters in game six, drop 16 in game seven, and then become him in game seven and drop 51 points. I
Yeah.
mean,
Breaking the Steph Curry record that was set literally like feels like a week and a half ago or whatever it was for game 7 points. But and this is the weird. Obviously, I do want to talk more about Boston. We're going to talk about all the winners because obviously, I mean, we can't just talk about the losers. But Jason Tatum had the weirdest series that I've ever seen out of a star, where there were quarters where it looked like, I mean, the guy couldn't score a layup. It felt like he could not get anything to go in the basket. And then he had several quarters where it was like the fourth quarter of game six or the entirety of game seven. I mean, where he just absolutely, there was nothing you could do to stop the guy. But
yeah,
I mean, like I said, I felt like game six was the game Philly should have won because it took Jason Tatum. I mean, it took him, I think I saw there were 7 minutes left in the third quarter before he even got his first basket in game six. So I don't, I'm
hmm
always going to keep going back to game six. It felt like the series was over after they lost that game.
especially since they won in game five. Like I was just like,
Yeah.
I genuinely thought they were going to win in game six. Just with how they played in Boston, I was like, they don't even have to play that well. And they really didn't. Game six was a dumpster fire for three quarters for Boston. So I just thought, I know they just choked. All Philly does is choke in the second round. It's not even, it's kind of sad because I don't even want to say they're wasting Embiid's prime because they're using Embiid the way they should. He's
I
just
think Embiid's the most
underperforming.
to blame. I mean,
I don't
call me
think he's the most
crazy.
to blame.
I think he hasn't been bad, but he hasn't like he definitely has been taking a step back when it hits playoffs. And you expect the guy to be the leader of the team. You expect him to want to step up in moments like this. But there were times in the series where PJ Tucker literally was like going up to Joel Embiid and he's like, shoot the ball. Like you're the best player on the team. Like, why are you getting scared getting back that? He's like, there's nobody on this team that can guard you. Now, Al Horford was doing a pretty good
Yeah,
job, but he was basically like, there's nobody that can guard you. Like, what are you doing? And it should not take I mean, now don't get me wrong, PJ Tucker is an unbelievable role player, but it should not take a role player to tell the best player on the team to shoot the damn ball. Like that should just
it's
be
true. It's
I don't
true.
know, but that should just be common knowledge that you need to take over in scenarios like this. Um, so I don't know. I think there's blame to go all the way around. And but then I mean, I mean, it feels like every year with Embiid, excuses, excuses, excuses. Comes on right after the game and says, "Me and James can't do it on our own." I mean, dude, you had a terrible game seven. You and James both had a terrible game seven. So
Yeah,
I don't know. I've seen a lot of Philly fans on Twitter saying, "Hit the rebuild, trade everybody for as many picks as you can get, let Harden go to Houston, like he's been rumored. He's been rumored to go to Houston." But it's like eight, like this is a random number that I'm making up, but like 80% of rebuilds fail. Like, I don't know. This has been a good team year after year after year. It's still like it has felt like this way for a long time. So maybe I'm wrong, but it still feels like they're right there. Like they've got one more hump to get over. But I mean, it's just a depressing end because they once again they don't even get to the conference finals. Like even if they got to the conference finals, lost or the championship and lost, whatever, at least you get over the second round hump that they've been stuck on for years. But I don't know, man. Just having trouble to get over that hump is it's crazy. I don't really know where they go from here, but they've definitely got to make some moves. I think bringing back James Harden is a must, though. I mean, he was borderline All NBA, but I don't know.
I don't know. I actually disagree. I actually think no matter which way they rebuild, I think they need to move off of Harden. I think they either need to rebuild around Embiid or Maxey. And if they build around Maxey, which again, I don't think they're going to do, they're probably going to rebuild about Embiid. But I would also trade PJ Tucker or revitalize his contract where he comes off the bench because that's another thing no one looks at. I mean, when both teams have their best lineup in the game, Philadelphia has only four players on the floor that can shoot. I mean, PJ Tucker offensively is horrible. Now he does everything else well. He's your hustle guy, he's your rebound guy, he's your defense guy, but he's a bald Patrick Beverly. Okay, let's call him what he is. Okay, and you can't spread the floor with that because you know Embiid's going to go to the paint. And then what? Okay, what has happened
Toby,
to
Toby, hold on.
Tobias
I gotta
Harris?
stop you. I gotta stop you. You know where you can find PJ Tucker? On the 3-point line, dude. That guy has not missed a corner three since the day he hit the NBA. I don't want to hear nothing
No,
about him not floor space. I don't know. I actually feel like PJ Tucker's not a problem. I feel like if you talk to most Philly fans, they would say PJ Tucker's actually was one of the bright spots of this playoff run.
I mean, yeah, maybe, but again, not to take any blame off of Embiid, but what has happened to Tobias Harris? This man, I don't even think he deserves a spot in the starting five. Paul Reed played so much more quality minutes than Tobias Harris in this playoffs. And okay, you can maybe say Tobias Harris had a better series versus the Nets. I could have dropped 40 on the Nets, and I
No,
said they were
no,
going to do
I
good.
I agree. I mean, it is kind of weird though that I mean you're paying a guy max money to. I mean, he was averaging like 12 points per game in the playoffs or something terrible like that. And there were games he'd score like 2 to like 8 points. It was, oh man, I don't know, man. Especially when you always look at it like I mean, I know Jimmy kind of wanted to leave as well, but like they basically chose Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler, which man, it's I don't know, it's crazy, man. I don't know. I think Philly's got a lot to do. I think Doc Rivers is gone. They're gonna have a lot of decisions, especially if Harden chooses to go to Houston. I mean, if Harden chooses to go to Houston, I don't even. I think Houston has plenty of cap space. I don't even think Houston needs to send anything over. Like I think they'll just lose him for nothing. Um, so uh, man, I don't know. Everybody talks about championship windows closing and opening. This honestly, like, I don't want to say this is the closing of Philly's championship window because Embiid has still got plenty of time in the league. He's still like in his prime right now, but I don't. It feels like it's about to get a whole lot harder. It feels like they've put together really good teams for the past several years, and they just haven't been able to
Yeah,
do the thing. And like I said, it's just going to get a whole lot harder. I don't think the championship window is closed, but if Harden is out the door, it's gonna set them back quite a few steps.
I'd agree. I'd agree.
Anyways, let's talk about the Celtics, man. I don't want to spend too much time on Philly. We'll spend some times on the other series too, but obviously it's the most recent one. But man, the Celtics, I'm gonna say right now, I think that they're winning the NBA Finals. They're very polarizing as a team. Like it's mainly Jason Tatum, where it just feels like he can't do anything. But then, I mean, you got games like Game Seven against Philly, where the guy drops 51 points. So I don't know. When this team is on, I don't think there's any team in the NBA that can stop them. It's going to depend on whether they can stay on. I think the Miami Heat think their run is over this series. Um, and I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about the Boston Celtics?
I honestly think not to be one of those people, but I actually think the Lakers are going to win the finals. That's just me where I am right now. But to the Celtics' favor and why I could totally agree with you, and I think is another big reason why Philadelphia lost, and I think it's a reason why the Suns lost. I think if the NBA has showed anything this playoffs, it's that depth depth is more important than having two or three absolute superstars in your lineup. I mean, even when the Sixers were blowing them out starter wise, I mean, Boston might have the deepest team since the Lob City Clippers. I mean, like 10 years ago. I mean, Brogdon, Derek White off the bench, both could easily start in the league. I mean, I don't know. I just
Yeah,
think the offense that they get off the bench is unmatched by any other team in the league.
yeah, I really like Boston. So actually, no, we'll touch on future of the playoffs in a second. Let's go ahead and hit some of the other series. I feel like we've already spent a lot of time on this series. It's mainly just been us talking about how disappointing Philadelphia is. Um, but I mean, do you got anything else to say about this series, or are we good to move on?
That's it. Nope.
So there's two more. We'll quickly touch on the others Eastern Conference team. I don't think we got a ton to talk about with this series, but I don't necessarily want to talk about the series per se. Everybody watches the playoffs. I want to talk about what teams do next. What do the New York Knicks do next? What's next for them?
I actually think it's really simple. I think trade Julius Randle. I think he had an awful final playoff series. They showed that Jalen Brunson is the centerpiece of that team. Trade Randle for a couple more pieces. And I think they can make another deep playoff run next year. I do. I love the Josh Hart addition midseason. And I like what they're doing. I mean, it's not a failure them losing in the second round. This is the
No,
best the Knicks have done in a while, and they almost won game six.
no, yeah. If I was a Knicks fan, I'd be really happy with this year. I know you can sit here and say like, oh, they lost to the 8 seed. They had the path to get to the conference championship. But this season has been nothing to be upset about for a Knicks fan. I mean, you're expecting to be in the lottery. Here you were, make it into the second round. You dominated the Cavaliers. I think Jalen Brunson has clearly shown that he's your center block. Like you thought you were building a team around Randall. Like no. It's Jalen Brunson, and now if he plays like this every year of his like contract in New York, he's on a great contract too. It's a descending contract, man, and it does. I'm so polarized by Julius Randle because he's such a great player, but I mean, he was all NBA third team, but he just seemed like he did not care in the playoffs. Like there were videos of him going viral, just standing around, taking bad shots, and then he comes out and he goes, "Oh, they might want it more than we do." Like, man, you're the heart and soul of this team, or you're supposed to be at least. You're not, but you're supposed to be. Like, yeah. I mean,
He
I'm
just
very
played so
polarized by
passive.
Randall.
Like you just can't, especially when you're the second or even before the series started, might have been their most effective offensive weapon. He was so passive on offense, passing up shots, and his effort was not there. So many bad fouls, just not getting back in transition. So
Yeah. Um. Anyways, that's really all I have to say about that. I kind of want to, because we've already eaten, we ate up like 15 minutes talking about Philly, so I want to move on a little bit. Um, but yeah, I think Julius Randle. I don't know. I can see them going anyway. Either way, I think as a Knicks fan, you should be very excited after the season. I think this has been one of the more fun seasons Knicks fans have had in a while. So
yeah.
moving on, let's go ahead and talk about the Golden State Warriors and the Los Angeles Lakers. Kind of a series that felt like the Lakers owned all the way, starting off with the Jordan Poole terrible shot in game one. And it felt like there were a lot of bad games. There were some games that felt like the Lakers came back from and won that they shouldn't. Um, Overall, it felt like the Lakers owned the series. It didn't really feel like the Warriors had a chance after like game three or whatever. I don't know. What are your thoughts on what the Warriors do after losing?
I mean, as much as I hate to give any talk to this point because I don't really agree with it that much. When people just came out and they were like, you know what, you can't really win after a guy like Draymond punches someone like Jordan Poole and creates such a rift between the old guys and the young guys. But I kind of looked at that point for the fact that like it seems like Golden State has two completely different squads on their team. It seems like they have a young squad that, and I think Jordan Poole, Moses Moody, and Jonathan Kuminga, if they start a rebuild, could start. I do think they need to move off of Green. I think they need to move off of Clay. I think the Warriors need to be not necessarily rebuild mode because I think their team could still make the playoffs if they keep Curry, start Poole, start Kuminga, but I do think they need to split up the squad.
All right, so you're on the side of blow it up and not blow it up, but go towards the younger side rather than the core that's been winning.
Yeah.
Man, I think you got to run it back at least one more year. This is a team that still looked very, very good for the majority of the season. Just couldn't put wins together on the road. I mean, I don't know. Can this team win another championship? I'm going to say probably not, but I said that last year too. They definitely Steve Kerr came out and said he wants them to re-sign Draymond. They want to get Clay extended. He wants to keep the core together. He thinks it's not over. I think you trust your Hall of Fame coach at that point. Um,
Yeah.
the Warriors GM has already said he's taken a couple weeks to think about it. Like this is such a hard situation for them to go through because they have this core that has proven they can win
Yeah.
against any team in the NBA. They've been dominant over the past decade or whatever. Um, so it's at some point all things have to end, but I don't know. I think you run it back one more year and give it your best shot. But
Yeah,
um,
this is a crazy question, but if it's in the form of a trade, because I don't Draymond's not a free agent this year, is he?
he is.
Okay, he is. I guess free agent is a
I
little
think he is.
different,
Let
but
me let me Google it, but I think he is.
especially in the form of a trade, what team right now wants Draymond? seriously, like what team wants he fits so well with the Warriors for what he brings like as a vocal person, but I don't I don't see the value, especially to be a starting piece anywhere else in the league, which is I know is a bold take, but I just don't see it.
Um, so it looks like he's actually, not to interrupt you, but it looks like he's actually got a player option on this year, which is 27 million. He'll probably accept, but I mean, they might still look to trade him. Either way, I don't know, man. I don't agree with that take at all. I think Draymond is still very useful. He doesn't score, but I still think he's an incredible offensive player with what he does besides scoring, just through picks, passing the ball. He moves the offense around just as much, if not more, than Stephen Curry. He gets Stephen Curry a lot of his open looks. Um, I don't know. I would be very excited to get Draymond. I would not be excited to get him at $27 million. I'll tell you that
Oh
much.
no.
But if I could get him for like a fair deal, somewhere around 12 to 15 million dollars, even I would even go up to 20 if I'm contending, and I think he's the last piece we need. But yeah, there's a very specific team that would need him. He would need to go to a team that doesn't need floor spacing, obviously. But I don't know, man. That's a different question for a different day. I don't know. I think the Warriors run it back another season at least. um Obviously Clay's not the same player he was, and Jordan Poole had a terrible playoff run. Jordan Poole plays at least decent, pays anywhere close to the contract that you gave him. I think that this playoff run is a completely different story. Anyways, the Los Angeles Lakers going on to take on the Denver Nuggets. I think the Lakers looked really good. You've already said you think they're winning that series. I think the Lakers have looked really good, man. And I hate to say it, but I think I am going to take the Lakers in the next series. The kind of transferring over to the Suns versus Nuggets series, man. The Suns have looked dominant at home, and they have home court advantage through the playoffs. They have looked dominant at home. Um, I don't know, man. I think the series could go either way, but I think that the Lakers are going to be a much easier matchup for the Nuggets than the Warriors, but I still think the Lakers are going to win this one.
Yeah, I mean, again, just to go depth, and again, I think the Nuggets have a good amount of depth, but I mean, they were getting quality minutes from Rui. I mean, I don't know. I love the rotation they have going on. I love what Darvin Ham's done. He's getting credit, but I mean, unbelievable job he's done in his first year here. And then my white boy Austin Reeves, bro, that man's cooked curry, and he's in line to get a good contract this offseason. I think, and then oh my gosh, D'Angelo Russell putting in quality minutes as well. I mean, their whole starting lineup is just they're clicking at the right time, which again, some people expected as much as I hate to say this name because I think he's one of the dumbest people on sports television. Kendrick Perkins called this.
Gotta give
So
him
if he
credit.
can do
Yeah,
it, you got to give him credit. So
I think the big X factor for the Lakers, and it's crazy you even got to bring this up, is can Anthony Davis play 8 more games? He's got to win 8 more games. I mean, is he going to be healthy enough to play and win 8 more games? I don't know, because I hate to say this, but LeBron James is not the best player on this team anymore. LeBron James is still very good. I mean, he's I saw something Colin Cowherd. He pretty much tore out his memory of what old LeBron was, stopped comparing new LeBron to old LeBron, and kind of just compared him as a normal NBA player. And he basically, based on his numbers, based on like how he plays and stuff, he's kind of like Jaylen Brown, which is still a great NBA player. Like LeBron James is still, he's very consistent. He doesn't really have off nights, but he's also not really the type of guy that's going to go out there and get you 40 anymore. Like that's just not who he is
yeah,
anymore. In the playoffs, I mean. So the thing is, I don't think this team can win without Anthony Davis. And he is so injury prone, and I think they need Anthony Davis in order to stop Jokic. I already think it's going to be hard to stop the Nuggets for the Lakers. I don't think Anthony Davis is an as good of a pick and roll defender as you'd want. And I don't know. I'm just scared of that Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic pick and roll. But Davis, he's got to have a defensive player of the award somewhere in his future. So I think that I don't know. I think you got to go Lakers in this series, but you got
I
to
think
hope that Anthony Davis stays healthy.
yeah, but I just hope the Lakers offense stays clicking because I don't see any guard that can guard Murray offensively. I think he's gonna have a great series, and I don't know. I guess you put LeBron on MPJ if he plays small forward, but I don't even think LeBron's. I mean, I don't know. MPJ, his catch and shoots insane. He literally will shoot anything. So I think it's gonna be hard to keep up with him offensively. But again, I just think the Lakers experience is going to be too much.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this series. I think that I honestly think Boston and Heat. I think Boston's going to take it. There's not really any doubt in my mind that Boston doesn't take it. I think this series could honestly go either way. I'm leaning towards the Lakers, but the Nuggets have been so freaking dominant at home. I don't know. It's hard to bet against the Nuggets. Um, so let's do one last team. This team has maybe had the most rumors surrounding their roster since the playoffs have, or since their playoff run has been over. What do the Phoenix Suns do? They already said they want to trade Chris Paul and they want to trade DeAndre Ayton. And it also came out that it's very likely that both of those guys actually get a trade done. What do you think they do?
I think that is exactly what they should do because if you look at that series and the series before that, what was their bright spot? Their bright spot was Devin Booker and KD combining for 80 a game.
Yeah,
All you
that's
need
all
to
they
do
had.
is get some
Nobody else
depth.
stepped up. Yeah.
Not even that, but literally, at least from the DeAndre Ayton aspect, with how bad he played, all you need to get someone is someone that can rebound the ball and pass the ball back out. Because again, get the occasional layup. Chris Paul, they just need to move on from him. I think the Suns are still title contenders because I mean KD and Booker is still a top offensive duo I've watched. I mean, they lived up to the hype, literally combined. I mean, you can't do it alone. When your third best scorer each game is Cameron Payne, you cannot win a championship off of that. You just can't.
I'm not going to argue with you there, but I definitely think that it's good if they can get rid of DeAndre Ayton, if they can get rid of Chris Paul. I mean, the problem is I don't know what you do with that because that's a lot of money between both those guys. Obviously, Ayton got his max. Chris Paul is getting paid a ton of money. I mean, because not only they could salary dump those contracts, you can't tell me there's not a team that would be thrilled to take on a DeAndre Ayton contract for cheap. The problem is they're trying to build a championship level team. Like they don't have time to just dump a salary. They have Kevin Durant and they have Devin Booker. Kevin Durant's not getting any younger. They need to continue to try to win now. So I don't know. That's what I'm really worried about is how are you going to turn those two assets, those two contracts into the championship pieces? I'm glad it's not my job to figure that out because I don't have an answer right now. In the offseason, we're going to do these Run Up the Score podcast episodes and we're going to try to figure out what each team should do, draw up actual trades. But for now, I mean, I don't even have an idea of what the Suns do, but definitely think it's necessary. There's been a lot of bad blood from DeAndre Ayton in Phoenix for the past couple seasons. He kind of toughed it out this year. Came out and said, "I love Phoenix. I would love to keep playing here," but I don't know. It just seemed like he wasn't super happy to be there. Obviously, Chris Paul. I mean, he hasn't really been healthy. I mean, at all throughout his playoff time in Phoenix. Even the championship run, he dealt with a lot of injuries. So I don't. It's been really depressing for Phoenix. They obviously went up 2-0 in the finals, got reverse swept by the Bucks, and then it's just been second round exits 2 years in a row after that. So I don't know. Especially when you have a team with KD and Devin Booker, you have higher aspirations. But it just came down to the fact you were hit the nail on the head. It was the two of them, and then nobody else came to play. So definitely those two guys got to go. Like I said, I have no idea where they go. I don't like the Monty Williams firing. I don't think
No.
he coached a great series against the Nuggets. I'm not gonna lie, I really don't. I don't think he did much to stop Jokic, and obviously stopping Jokic is hard, but I don't even think he really did much to even slow Jokic. So I'm not saying he coached a great series, and I'm not saying he didn't make mistakes, but I don't know. For a guy that just led his team to a championship a couple years ago, I don't know. On the other hand, man, I don't know. I'm so polarized about him because Chris Paul also makes every coach he's ever been with seem like a better coach than they are. He did it with Doc Rivers. He did it with Billy Donovan. Was he doing it with Monty Williams? I don't know, but I still think they fired Monty Williams too early. But it's like I said,
Yeah.
this is the time to look for a coach. So I would love to see them go out and get Coach Bud. I think Coach Bud would be a good fit for them. I'm not a huge fan of Coach Bud, but I think he'd be a good fit for what they're trying to do.
I actually think the best coach on the market is Nick Nurse, but you can't go wrong with
Oh, I
Bud.
forgot about Nick Nurse. I don't know. I think I still just for the fit in Phoenix, I think I would want Coach Bud. Obviously, Tyronn Lue, his name has been linked to some teams. I actually think the Suns want Tyronn Lue. They said that's their number one guy, but Tyronn Lue, I believe, is still roped in with the Clippers. I'm not exactly sure if he's 100% roped in, but I know he's been linked to teams such as the Bucks, such as the Suns. Obviously, I think that's one of the best coaches in the league right now. If either team could pull him away from Los Angeles. I think that would be great for them. So, anyways, you got anything else to say about any teams heading out of the playoffs?
Well, one team we didn't talk about at all. This is Miami Heat.
Okay, yeah,
And
we'll give the Heat some flowers. Yeah, Hemi Butler.
I actually think that Hemi Butler carries Miami to another championship.
All right,
Not to
that's the
win
end of the
it, no,
podcast. Toby's. I'm just kidding.
not to win it, but I think I think he played like he did versus the Bucks because he had to. He saw he had some leeway with the more unexperienced Knicks team. I think he has four more 40 pieces in him, and that's crazy to say about a player, but I really do. And just think, if they can somehow get past the Celtics team and they can get back a healthy Himmy Tyler Hero, I think that I would love to see Butler get a
Didn't
ring.
he like
Get
tear something or break something?
no. He broke his hand, and the
Oh yeah,
first
he's
report that
done,
came out.
Toby. He's not
No,
coming back.
he's not done. Look it up. The first
I've
thing
been
that
seeing
came out
everywhere that
after
he's done.
the first thing that came out after he broke his hand was that if they make it to the finals, he can play in the finals.
I don't know, maybe, but I don't think that they. I don't think that they make the finals. Honestly, I think that the Celtics are just the far superior team, and even if they make the finals, I think it'd be similar to when they made it in 2020. Where I mean, they were in the finals, but everybody knew the Lakers were winning that series.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, very quickly, I think Boston beats Miami. I'm gonna go Lakers over Denver, but I think that series could go either way. And I've got Boston winning the whole thing right now. I think the reigning Eastern Conference champions become the reigning finals champions after this season. So, what do you think?
I have a bubble repeat. I have Lakers winning versus Nuggets. I have Heat winning versus Celtics, and I have Lakers winning in the championship.
Could you imagine though, two playing teams playing against each other in the NBA Finals?
That would be, and it's just perfect because up until this year, I mean, I've heard random talks here and there. Oh my gosh, the bubble was a fluke. And yes, a lot of it may be, but these teams at a play-in spot, making it back to the finals, just show how good they were a couple years ago when they were at full strength.
Yeah, and yeah, I think it would be a fun rematch. Although I would prefer to see Boston versus one of the Western Conference teams because I think they could be a better series. But anyways, this whole segment has been very random. I mainly we talked about Philly for like 15 minutes. I really just wanted to talk about Philly, so I'm sure we missed something. I'm sure it felt really random with how we jumped from topic to topic. That's okay. Hey, that's what the Run Up the Score podcast is. It's just whatever pops up on the mind. So,
It happens.
but anyways, Toby and I are going to take a quick break real quick, and we will be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back. Sorry, Toby and I were having some problems with the Zoom, but we're back now. Let's jump right into, we got all the playoffs talked about. Let's get on to some other stuff. I want to talk about the All NBA teams. We're just going to fly through all three of the All NBA teams that were selected the other day, and we're just going to give our thoughts and opinions on them. So I actually do want to preface this right now. I'm not going to spoil. I only missed two picks in this entire All NBA. I was right about the entire rest of the All NBA where people fell. I was only wrong about two. So, anyways, let's get right into it. So All NBA first team, you see, if I can get to it, you see Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic, Joel Embiid, Giannis, and Jason Tatum. What are you thinking about that team, Toby? You think they got it right? You think they snubbed somebody? What's going on?
I think they got it right. My boy Shea got his props. This man was on a different level this year, and I'm loving that he got the first team. He's gonna get his bag, and I really don't think anyone got snubbed. I think the only way I would have maybe leaned is I almost would have put Jalen Brown first team, but that's the
Over who
only
though? Over Jason Tatum? Heck no. I don't know. I think they got it perfect. I don't think there's an argument to be made.
yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, I think they got it perfect. I predicted this exact five for my All NBA team. I'm going to keep flexing that because I predicted this All NBA team. There's still a few weeks left in the season, and I predicted almost every single team 100% correct. I got my first team 100% correct. I was worried they weren't going to give it to Shea. I'm glad they did. I think Shea had an awesome season. I know that they didn't make the playoffs, but I don't know, man. I just think with the way Shea played, same with Luka. It's it's hard for me to put players on bad teams up in there, but I don't know. Luka and Shea had great years. And obviously you had Jason Tatum, Giannis, and Joel Embiid, three of the top four MVP candidates. Don't think there's a ton of discussion to have there. Moving on to the All NBA second team. You see Steph Curry, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brown, Jimmy Butler, and Nikola Jokic making the All NBA second team. I'll go first on this one. I'll go ahead and say this is where my mistake was. When I predicted the All NBA teams, I flip flopped Stephen. I had Stephen Curry and Donovan Mitchell on the third team together still, but I had them both on the third team, and I promoted one of the two third team guards to second team, and then one of the guards was off the list. I'll get into that in a second. But yeah, so once again, completely agree with this list. I think it was tough choosing out here choosing the forwards. I know that I think that in the future they're changing it to where like just the top five players make the first team, top five make the second team, so on and so forth. But this year they did not do that. It was hard to pick forwards. I felt like there were so many guards that deserved it. But that's where Jimmy Butler, where Jalen Brown slides in. I was very comfortable with putting Jalen Brown on my second team. Jimmy Butler, I thought deserved it, but I could have seen it going anyway. Jokic, obviously, second best center this year behind Embiid. Some people would make an argument that he was the best. And like I said, I had an argument for Steph Curry and Donovan Mitchell both being on the third team, but this is where I had them. What are you thinking, Toby?
I mean, I agree with the way they had it. I mean, I don't know. I like the Donovan pick. I like the Butler pick. I think he could have gone either way. Maybe swapped him out a little bit, but Brown, I completely agree with. Same with Curry, and then Jokic, obviously. Jokic, I mean, again, Embiid won MVP, but I think Jokic. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
was
I
a little
think
bit
Jokic.
wait, sorry, what were you saying?
Oh no, I don't know. I was just gonna say I might have had Jokic above Embiid on first team this year, but I don't know.
Didn't you say in the last podcast you had Embiid as your MVP?
I had him as my MVP, but
How are you
I
gonna
don't
say he's the
know,
MVP
man.
but he's not on first team?
I don't know, man. Jokic is just different.
Oh
Jokic
my
is
gosh,
just
Toby. This is recency bias about the playoffs. I already know it.
yeah, a
Um,
little bit.
so that's the second team. Moving on to the All NBA third team. Once again, your boy predicted almost perfect. Um, so the differences I had, I'll go ahead and say them. So the guards were De'Aaron Fox and Damian Lillard. Forwards, they had LeBron James and Julius Randle, and they had Domantas Sabonis at the center. I I left, just spoiler alert, I had Damian Lillard on my second team with Ja Morant, and then I had De'Aaron Fox off this list. Like I said, I did this a couple weeks before the season ended. Ja Morant obviously didn't have a good ending to his season. I felt like it sucked for Ja that he wasn't on this list, but it would have sucked if any of these guards weren't on this list. I don't know. I thought all the guards had a great season. I honestly
Yeah.
was very surprised to see Dame make third, considering I think this is the best year that he has personally had in his entire career. He's just on a bad team. I think otherwise you could even make an argument for All NBA first team. Um, so that's really the only reason why I can see him being all the way down on third team. De'Aaron Fox, I don't hate it. Like I said, I had Morant, but I don't hate De'Aaron Fox there. De'Aaron Fox had an awesome year. It is a little weird to see two Kings players get on All NBA team. They were the 3 seed and then the 2 seed not get a single one, but whatever. The voters decided Fox over Morant. I disagree, but it could go either way. And then LeBron James in there once again missed a lot of games. Kind of a weird pick to put in there, but it was kind of slim on the forwards. Same with Julius Randle. Didn't miss a lot of games, but just I don't know. It was just kind of a weird pick, but forwards were kind of light. And then, like I said, I thought it was a hot take. I put Domantas Sabonis over Anthony Davis. I thought that was a very hot take. The All NBA voters apparently agreed with me, though. Sabonis makes All NBA third team. Toby, what are your thoughts here?
I mean, yeah, I thought the Sabonis pick was a little weird. Um, I think it is hard with the guards again, but again, I'm a big De'Aaron Fox guy. I think he deserved it. I think Lillard deserved it as well. You know, I hate seeing Randall there just after how bad he performed in the
But he
playoffs.
had a good regular season,
But
though,
yeah,
so you
yeah,
can't
yeah.
hate it.
No,
I mean, obviously, I think Brunson deserved an honorable mention. I think Brunson would have gotten in an over Randall had it already been just the best five. But because of still, you have to have two guards, two forwards, and one center, which I think is so stupid that was ever a thing, considering contracts rely on these sorts of things. But I think Jalen Brunson 100% would have gotten it over Randall had it been that way. I think Brunson was right on the outside looking in, but just because it's light on the forwards, I don't know. I thought Randall deserved it. So just
yeah,
personally.
I agree.
And then you said you thought the Sabonis pick was weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think I don't know. I kind of would have liked just from the defensive aspect. Um, well, now I can't remember if he's a center or a power forward.
Yeah.
I was about to say Jaren Jackson Jr. is a swap out just because of how good he was
I think he's
defensively.
classified as a forward. They got Steven Adams as their center.
Okay, I would have liked that swap out a little bit, but again, I don't mind the Sabonis pick. I do like when they're going to move it to like the five best,
Yeah, that'll
but
be so much better. And it's going to be so much easier too, because we're not going to have to be like, oh, we've got 16 guards and then like no forwards that deserve it. So it'll be a little bit better. And then now for they don't have to have Joel Embiid and Jokic swapping first and second teams because let's be honest, all three or both of those guys should have been All NBA first team for like 4 or 5 years in a row at least. And one of them has been second team every single year because they can't both be on the first team. I think that was really dumb. So I'm glad that they are changing that. Like I said, contracts literally rely on the fact whether you make an All NBA team, players get pay raises because of it.
yeah.
It's also incentive based. Um, so the one thing that I did see that was kind of weird was Donovan Mitchell got 45 votes to be on the first team, which was really weird. Luka got 60. So Luka didn't get a ton more than Donovan Mitchell. I don't know. I just thought that was crazy.
Yeah, it is a little weird. I think Donovan had a great year, but I don't think he was anywhere close to as good of the year that Luca had. So I do
Yeah.
find it a little weird. But
Yeah. So just looking at based on the votes, LeBron James was the last. Giannis was the only person that got 100 perfect first team votes. All 100 people voted him in the first team. He's the only person where that happened. LeBron James got the least amount of votes by a long shot. The second least was 125 points. LeBron James got 81 points. So by a long shot, LeBron James was the lowest voted person in. So I mean, just looking on the outside or looking at the outside looking in, I'm just curious. Anthony Davis had 65 total votes. Sabonis had 147. He was the top voted guy on the third team. He had more than De'Aaron Fox. So just based on the votes, Anthony Davis really wasn't close. Just based on the votes, there really weren't anybody that was super close. Looks like obviously this would probably be one of the snubs people might talk about is Laurie Markkinen not making it. I don't know though. He wasn't on a good enough team and he didn't have as like I know there were some players that made it without being on a good team, but he didn't have as good of a year as some of those other guys. So
yeah, I do like the future of some of those like players that like I like Shea making it again. Lori didn't, but I think those teams in the future are gonna have a couple each, especially and actually that's just for another day. For another, I'm just very high on the Thunder's future. It's just I just want to get into that, but
speaking about young teams in the future, that was an awesome segment. I better give some flowers for that one. Let's jump straight to the NBA draft lottery going on the day that you guys hear this podcast. The Chicago Bulls have the 1.8% chance where we're going to jump up and get Victor Wembanyama. No, I'm just kidding. It's not going to happen. But hey, the Bears got the first overall pick this year. The Blackhawks just won the lottery in the NHL. It's time for Chicago to get it. 15 years ago, Chicago won the lottery with 1.7% chance and got Derrick Rose. It's time for it to happen again, Toby. That's all I'm saying.
no, no.
Anyways, I do want to talk about so based on like realistic teams that could get the first overall pick, like whatever, like cool. It would be cool if Wembanyama went to Oklahoma City. I know they have Chet, but that would be fun. It would be fun if he went to Dallas, but just realistic. Like we'll say 5% chance or higher, which leaves, listen to these names: Detroit, Houston, San Antonio, Charlotte, Portland, Orlando, Indiana, and Washington. Out of those teams, out of those 8 teams, which team do you think it would be the most fun to have Victor? Like, what team would you like to see Wembanyama land on?
Mm. You
You
did
want me to
say
answer while
Dallas,
you think
right?
about it?
Did you say Dallas?
No, no, Dallas is not in there. Dallas only has a 3% chance. I mean, it could always happen, but 3% is just kind of low. I personally, my favorite landing spot would be the Portland Trailblazers. I would love to see Dame get a couple years with him. Because I mean, Portland's kind of in no man's land. Damian Lillard is not going to win a championship in Portland, but it would be they could get pretty daggone good if Victor Wembanyama shows up there. If they can rework some other stuff, they have a 10.5% chance of getting the first overall pick. It's very doable. Um, they're sitting as the 5th team in right now for a top 4 pick. and they've got a good chance to get a top 4 pick. So,
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would also say this is probably a weird take, but I would low key like to see him on Orlando. I love what Orlando did this
interesting.
year. I love Franz Wagner. I
I
think
mean,
he had
it
a
would be
great
cool to
year.
see that young core. The problem they have so many centers though. They've already got Wendell Carter, but I don't. It doesn't matter. You get Wemby, obviously. Those guys don't matter. If any of these teams get Wemby, cool. He's your new center of the future. It doesn't matter who you already have. Second pick, Scoot Henderson. Um, I think Scoot would be a lot of fun. This is going to be kind of weird. I think he'd be a lot of fun in. Well, I don't know. I'm looking at this. A lot of these like teams that have a really good chance to get the second overall pick don't necessarily need a shooting guard or a point guard. I don't know. I think he'd be fun in Orlando. Maybe. He could
Yeah,
be
that'd be a good.
fun. Sorry, what did you say?
No, I think that'd be a good spot. Yeah,
Yeah,
with
San
Cole coming
Antonio
off
would
the
be a good
bench.
spot. I think.
San Antonio just needs so much. It's just sad.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be fun. And actually, I want to do this one time. I want to spin Tankathon if I'm able to do that. I might not be able to do that. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, here we go. Sim lottery. We're just gonna see right here. This means literally nothing. We're 22 hours away from the actual lobby. But Toby, we're gonna spin it one time just to
All
see
right.
who would win the lottery if it happened right now. If we send the lottery with the first overall pick, oh my gosh, we had 3 teams jump into the top 4. Houston stays at 2, so Houston stays in the top 4. Indiana jumps up from the 7th to the first overall pick. Chicago jumps from what is it, 11 to 3, and Portland jumps from 5 to 1. I think that would be
Wow.
fun. That'd be a fun way to spend the draft lottery, especially as the Bulls fan. So you've had Wembanyama going to Indiana, you'd have Scoot going to Houston, and then you'd probably have Brandon Miller to Chicago. So that is where we stand. If the draft lottery happened, if it was up to us for the draft lottery, that's how it would happen. But now that I've just used the Bulls like 8.5% chance to jump into the top 4, it's not going to happen tomorrow. So,
Probably not. No.
anyways, I think that's all I got, man. I mean, we've touched on these teams, how they need to, what I think is next for these teams. Kind of got into the All NBA teams a little bit and had some fun with the lottery. You got anything else to add, man?
I got one more thing to add. It's a bigger thing, so we don't have to touch on it much. I think it could be a segment for the next episode, but John Morant has a chance to turn into the biggest what if in NBA history. I
That's
mean,
true. I got. I think
he's
we. I
about to
mean,
ruin his career. I mean, again, he's going to get a big suspension to start the season. I could see it being like maybe like 20 games, but if he pulls something like this again, I mean, again, second time bad enough. He's not going to get. I mean, it's not going to be awful. It's going to be bad, but what is he doing? Like,
well, and it's the same guy that keeps getting him in trouble. Like he needs to cut this friend off. I mean, this could be a huge conversation for a different day. I'm not going as far to say that this could be a what if story, but he's got to shaping it up. I know he's already gotten paid, but I mean, gosh, dude. I mean, he's got to chill it a little bit, and then obviously, I mean, I kind of wish we did talk about the Grizzlies a little more. Um, I already mentioned this earlier. Once we get to the offseason, we're going to go through every single team and we're going to say what I think that they should do in the offseason. Talk about trade rumors and stuff, but they said obviously there's no way they're bringing back Dylan Brooks. I don't know. This Grizzlies team is annoying, man. I honestly hate. I don't like this Grizzlies team very much. But anyways, if you've got nothing else to add, I've got nothing else to add. We've enjoyed having you on here, Toby. Do you want to shout out any sort of social media, as a Twitter or anything?
you know, I didn't get no one added my Snapchat last time. All the ladies out there, so I won't shout that out again. But my Twitter handle is the Tobester724, and yeah, I love being on.
Yeah, we once again, thanks for coming on. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, be sure to drop a follow, rate it 5 stars. I know this was random. I know it was a ramble, completely unscripted. This is what we like to do around here. I'm sure it was all over the place. Hey, that might be what people appreciate about us. I don't know. Anyways, we'll be back next week as we kind of get a better idea of what the finals will turn out to be. Anyways, man, I mean, keep enjoying the playoffs. We'll catch you back here on next Tuesday. Thanks again for Toby for coming on, and we'll hope to have you on again soon.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.